I believe skateboarders have an unfair advantage. Unmatched resilience paired with crazy creativity. I'm chatting with Mike Bradley, a filmmaker that I met through skateboarding. He's a director of photography, video editor, and I want to explore how skateboarding paved the way for his filmmaking career and his success. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, man.
We were just chatting. Now you live on the island. What's it like living small town?
I love it. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the perfect fit for me and my wife and our like two little Dachshund dogs. I feel like island time is definitely a thing here. It's taken us some time to like adjust to that, but honestly, it's the perfect fit for us. Like the vibe and everything. Yeah, we love it.
So we're talking about skateboarding. Are you skateboarding still?
Oh yeah, I'm still skating. It's funny because like I've been skating since I was like 12 years old. I'm 35 now, and like there was a couple of years where I like slowed down for a bit or whatever. But honestly, like I feel like I'm skating more now than I ever have, and largely in part due to just like there's a pretty good like skate community here on the island, especially like close to where I live, which is like not too far from Nanaimo and the Harrowwood skate park.
Nanaimo Park is good.
Yeah. There's a couple parks in Nanaimo, but like Harrowwood's kind of like the newest one. It's a few years old now, but there's a good scene there, good crew, lots of like really good locals.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been nice like for me just to be kind of tapped in more to like the skate community.
Okay.
Because I don't know, in like previous years, like where I was living before, like when I was in the like Lower Mainland, living in like Aldergrove and then like Chilliwack and Mission. Skate scenes, I don't know, not the best like out there. Like they exist, but I don't know. Some of them are just like a bunch of like scooter kids when you show up at the park. And some of them are just like, younger like high school kids, which is cool. But like, being in your 30s, it's kind of nice to find people that are like closer to your age, have a bit more to like relate to.
It's weird when you get over 30, man.
Yeah.
Everything definitely changes. I don't have I would go to the skate park literally 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And you were tapped in and you had that community, and now we have families and we have careers and jobs, and it's super weird to kind of learn how to balance that.
Yeah.
So you got into skateboarding at 12. Like what were your first memories of like how did you get into skateboarding?
I mean, I kind of got into it how I feel like a lot of people probably get into it, just like being in elementary school and like everyone started skateboarding and it was like the cool thing to do. And I remember like telling my dad like, "Oh, I got to get a skateboard, like everyone's got one." And like but I told him very specifically, I said like, "Don't worry, this is just a fad. Like I don't think it won't last very long. So like let's just go to Walmart and I'll buy like a Walmart board." That's like we don't need to go to like a skate shop and buy like a $200 setup or anything. And he's like, "Okay, sure." And like, quickly after that $20 Walmart board was destroyed, I was hooked. And 20 plus years later, I'm still here skateboarding. So
amazing. And then what was the transition for you of like skateboarding and then getting into filmmaking? Was it filmmaking? Was it something else? Like what was that transition piece?
I mean, it was always I would say it was filmmaking and photography. Both of those were like equally matched for me growing up. It started like right from the get-go with skateboarding. Obviously, like skateboarding is very much in line with filmmaking, like filming skateboarding, skate videos. It's a part of the culture. And so I just dove right into that and quickly became enthralled with just like capturing every little bit of skateboarding and just trying to get my hands on any kind of cameras I could at the time.
Yeah.
Which like back then, like camera equipment wasn't as easily accessible. You didn't have, your phone that could shoot like amazing footage and photos and everything like that. It was like, where can I get, an old like VHS cam, or like some sort of like, hand me down like film camera or whatever. And then just really like learning all about the process and how to use it. And then that obviously like translated into video editing, kind of having our like family PC that was like my editing machine, and using like Windows Movie Maker, and then like eventually getting like a Mac like years later and learning iMovie and then Final Cut and then Premiere and Resolve, and just sort of like grew on top of each other. So.
I had a similar kind of experience. You didn't like necessarily touch on this, but I was by far the worst skateboarder out of my friend group.
Okay.
And so I became the camera guy. We were grade 8-ish and starting to look at getting like shop sponsors.
Okay.
And I was just the video guy because I couldn't kickflip.
Oh, dude.
That came later. I can still kick. Yeah. But being the worst skateboarder, it kind of led to that. And I was same thing. I got into video first, and then I would film them on like a tripod, and then I got a photo camera, so I would do photo and video at the same time. I would like press record, and I'd run, and then take the photo. Like why did you pick up the camera though? Like, so I was the worst skater, and so I was the token photographer. What made you actually want to pick up? Was there any like inspiration of like, skateboard videos or?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely inspiration out there. I think it's just like, I don't know, you sort of mimic like what you see out there. And at the time, obviously looking just at like just how many amazing skateboarders were in like the Vancouver area and all the like the OG shops at the time, you know, I mean, really, I would say one of the biggest influences on me growing up was I don't know if you remember the skateboard shop Board Kennel.
I grew up in Calgary.
Oh, you grew up in Calgary. Oh, you might.
So my shop right here was Skaters.
Skaters? Okay.
They have now closed a bunch of years ago. But,
Yeah.
I moved out here when I was 18.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you might not know Board Kennel then. They might have still been around, but maybe not. They don't exist anymore. But anyways, they were based in White Rock, and I grew up in North Delta, and at the time there wasn't like a lot of skate shops around. And so me and my cousin, who I grew up skateboarding with a lot, we'd make the trek from North Delta to White Rock, go check out Board Kennel, buy stuff, that sort of stuff. But they had like an amazing team at the time, and they were also making just these like killer skate videos, and it was all made by John West, who is like an OG like pro on Foundation back in the day, and like turned filmmaker. And like if you haven't checked out any of his work before, like I'm talking about like Circle of Confusion was like my favorite video at the time. Okay. And you had like Brad Shepard in it, Magnus Hansen,
all of them still
Alien, there was a lot of like amazing skateboarders. And yeah, I just fell in love with John's like filmmaking in that skate video. Like I watched that video to death, and like it influenced me greatly just in terms of like the music I listened to, the clothes that I would wear, the way that I would try to skate, and also the way that I would try to film. And I feel like for years and years and years, I would try to like emulate that in what I was doing. Again, maybe not always being very successful at it, but definitely aiming. That was sort of like, oh, I love this style. Like, that's what I want to try to do.
Yeah. Do you remember some of the trends, like, in aesthetic, like skateboard aesthetic that you tried to copy? I know mine.
Yeah.
There was a while there where we were all trying to film and make, like, the white balance super warm.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah. I remember getting a hot tip from Ryan DeCenzo back in the day, because, like, I grew up skating the North Delta Park, and so that was like the home park for like Magnus and like Ryan and Scott DeCenzo, a lot of those guys. And I had bought like a Sony VX1000 and like filming at the park. And I remember Ryan coming up to me and he's like, you know, the trick with that is like you want to like jack up the white balance there, and you want to make it look like super orange, so it makes it look like you're filming in California.
Yeah.
And so that stuck with me for like a long time. I'm like, oh yeah, like warmer colors, that's cool.
I mean, look at him now. His skate career is...
Yeah.
He's top, like, what? Top...
He's still killing it. Yeah, he's still competing at the highest level, which is crazy.
Yeah, really cool to see.
Yeah.
What was your first camera setup? Do you remember? Or the process?
Well, I mean, for the longest time, I didn't have a camera, so it was just borrowing. Honestly, it was borrowing, like friends, like, family cam. You know, whatever kind of, like, mini DV cam they had at the time. Because, like, my parents didn't have like a camcorder or anything, so it was just like borrowing cameras. And then, you know, sometimes it would be like somebody that we didn't really skate with, but they had a camera, so it'd be like, yo, you should come with and like bring your camera. And then like inevitably like I would have the camera, and then, you know, at the end of the day it would come home with me, and I'd have it for like a week, and I'd film as much as I could, and then the kid would be like, hey, can I have the camera back? Like, my dad's asking for it. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, right, sorry. But eventually, yeah, my parents bought me just like a cheap little, you know, mini DV camera. That didn't last long. And then eventually I like pooled some money together with my cousin, and we bought like a VX 1000, and we used that for like a number of years, and then eventually got the Panasonic DVX 100.
Yeah, it's classic skateboard transition. And
yeah, for sure. It's like 100%, yeah, classic. And
I made the mistake of going with the Canon GL2 instead of the VX, which is notorious for being a hated camera.
Yeah, there's the GL1, the GL2, and I don't know. I mean, it wasn't anything like
I mean,
wrong with it.
people hated it. I'm still in
Yeah.
Canon today. All my camera gear is
Yeah,
still
you
Canon.
never like deviated from
No,
Canon. It's just like,
no.
yeah, I'm a Canon
And
guy too. Like I love Canon.
their
So.
their workhorse is what I like love about them is like whether I'm filming at like -30 in the rain or whatever, I've
Hmm.
never had a camera fail
Yeah.
on a job, like knock on wood. And you have a backup with you, especially for photo camera,
Mhm.
where I have worked with other brands and the batteries die too fast, or everyone needs to stop for 20 minutes while we figure out this technical issue. I've never had that with Canon, so
Yeah, their
I'm not
workhorses.
going to deviate from that. One thing I really think skateboarding has taught me is the can-do kind of figure it out aspect to it that it takes to be a filmmaker, photographer.
Hmm.
Example is my first editing technique was I had whatever handycam that my dad bought, and I didn't have an editing suite. Like, we might have had a computer with internet, but what I did is I took my VCR and used the RCA cable to plug into the VCR, and then I had my Discman to plug the audio in. And
Oh wow.
I would start stop, and so the audio track was only on one, and then one for the music, and then one for the skateboarding, and I would like record or like play record, and like that's how we made our first sponsorship videos. And I'm like, what other kid is kind of figuring this out? And I still have that kind of attitude today where like I don't often have a $100,000 budget to create something. I have a $3,000 budget to figure something. Like, how can we do the best we can with what we have and
Yeah.
make it work? What are your thoughts on
I
the
mean,
qualities of skateboarding?
I mean, I'll share a couple of little stories because I have
Yeah,
lots of little stories exactly like that too, and
let's do it.
I think you're totally right. I mean, I think skateboarding teaches you to be like resilient and to be like a problem solver. There's a lot of aspects about skateboarding that really speak to that. But I mean, just in terms of the technical aspect, definitely there was times where like not having the right kind of gear or wishing you had something that you didn't, and like there was times using old crappy little handy cams and not having a fisheye, and you're like you need to have a fisheye. Like that's just part of filming skateboarding, especially back then. And so I remember taking like old lenses from old like big heavy VHS cameras. They were just like lens adapters basically, so you could like thread it onto the front and it'd be like a telephoto lens or whatever. And I remember like me and my buddies we had this like old lens. It was a telephoto, but if you flipped it backwards, it would kind of give you a more like wider field of view basically.
Right.
So not quite fisheye, but close enough. Wider, yeah. And we were like on a little road trip like to Kelowna at the time, and we found ourselves like wanting to use this lens, and so we just like went to this Home Depot, and we're like sitting on the floor of this Home Depot with the camera, with the lens, and like rummaging through all the boxes of different like nuts and bolts and things. Like, how can we mount this thing so we don't have to just like hold it there? And we ended up like rigging out this like crazy like arm contraption thing that we like totally just built right then and there, and it worked. It was so cool. And then we like promptly just like left Home Depot without paying for anything. We just like, no, we came in with this. This was like part of our rig. Anyway, see ya, bye.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like from that point on, I think that was like a core memory in my mind of like, okay, like this isn't working. How do we make it work? And just figuring it out as you kind of go along. And honestly, like, I feel like I'm doing that all the time in my work. You know, you don't always have access to every piece of gear imaginable that you might feel like you need or something. So then you just make do with what you have, and maybe you MacGyver it a little bit.
Team to make it happen. Like, sure, you can maybe rig something up, but then you need people. You need the people stack up quickly.
Totally. Yeah,
and
100%.
So if you only have 3 people on set with you, it's kind of like for you. And this is like your personal kind of story. Like when working with corporate clients,
mm-hmm.
do you feel being a skateboarder is an asset or a liability? Do you feel like you need to change who you are to kind of work with some of the big corporate clients you have? Like I saw on your website, you have BC Hydro, 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven's done partnerships with skateboarding, which is great. I think like Adam Hopkins has been some 7-Eleven kind of stuff, and what's it like working in the corporate world? I've done some Coast Capital stuff with you. Is being a skateboarder an asset to that project or a liability?
It's a little bit of both, I'd say. It took me a number of years to kind of find my space in that world and how I kind of adapt. I'm not one to really put on a clean corporate aesthetic that sometimes these brands expect. And I think for a number of years I tried to fit that mold a little bit just in terms of how I presented myself. And not to say I wanted to show up as just like some like,
Skate rat.
yeah, skate rat, unkept kind of person. But I always felt like, yeah, just like putting on a dress shirt and combing my hair just felt wrong.
Yeah.
And so, but I did it for a number of years because I was working in a very corporate environment sometimes. But over the years, I've kind of realized that like, no, like I want to be able to like dress the way I want to dress and present myself the way I want to present myself, and still be professional too at the same time. So I would say like in that way, I guess maybe a bit of a liability, kind of. But I think really where skateboarding kind of plays a role is just like in being I don't know. I guess like in skateboarding, you're kind of breaking rules all the time. You know, whether it's like rules in skateboarding, which there really is no rules, there shouldn't be, but there are unspoken rules. But then also just like rules in society as well, right? And so like that's where almost like that guerrilla style filmmaking kind of comes into play, and that's very much hand in hand with skateboarding. And so sometimes I'll take that aspect and incorporate it into the commercial or corporate world, you know, where it's like, you know, you don't want to break any like rules too much because, you know, maybe you're liable or the company's liable, but sometimes you want to hop that fence and get that shot because it's going to be so much better for the piece. And so I've been able to kind of bring that into the fold a bit and make my work better for it.
I've actually noticed in your portfolio you had a lot of skateboarding pieces, even in pieces that weren't necessarily about skateboarding. How did you bridge that gap? Like, I've never been able to kind of bridge that gap. I'm like, okay, I'm doing like corporate talking head here and headshots and that kind of thing. It's like, how do you like, hey, I think we should like get some culture in there with skateboarding? How has that like come up?
Are you talking specifically about like skate culture or just like aesthetics in like skateboarding in like things that are completely like skate related?
Yeah, you could go either way kind of with it. I just saw like in your portfolio you had like a lot of skateboarding intertwined with the corporate.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, and that's come about just from some of the clients that I've had in the past, and where it's been like skate related content and things like that. And so that's obviously like to me a dream because it's kind of it's merging, you know, both my passions of filmmaking and skateboarding. And I've been very I guess blessed to be able to do those two things at times. And those projects to me are always the most fun. But I would say like beyond that, like the way that I'll approach, you know, shots and the way things are captured, it's very much influenced through like skateboarding, I would say. Like I very rarely will shoot something on a tripod in a static frame. Like I respect people who can do that. And I love watching it and looking at it, but like it's never my first instinct to grab the tripod and just set it up and then to let, you know, the scene or the shot play out. I always want to add like movement, you know, to make it more dynamic. And I feel like that's very much in line with like skateboarding. It's always been just like moving the camera as much as possible and creating like energy in a shot. And that's kind of instinctual for me, and that's stemmed from skateboarding.
Yeah, totally. What has there been any like through skateboard filmmaking, anything like on the technical side of media production that you learned that is now second nature that maybe more difficult for somebody else? And so an example for myself would be I really gravitated more towards the photography side, and I had to learn how to outpower the sun with my strobes and my flashes. I knew all about flash duration speeds and how to freeze the action before high shutter speed. I get people like photographers all the time. How did you learn flashes and strobes? To me, it's like just such a second nature. I'm like, I don't even like think about it, but it was just I had to learn this aspect. And so, have you taken any? Has skateboarding helped you with any technical aspects of filmmaking that maybe not second nature to everyone else?
Maybe the only thing, and it's not even a technical thing, but it's just like the skate dolly, you know, rolling around on a skateboard and getting those shots, you know. And I feel like that definitely like came with me on a lot of shoots. And people are always so like enamored by it. They're like, "You're really gonna do that? Like, you're really gonna step on that like piece of wood and roll around with that really expensive camera?" And it's just like, yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I've been doing
super
that my
easy.
whole life.
Yeah,
Like, of
yeah,
course I'm gonna do that. And if I hit a little rock and I fall, I'll just shoulder it and I'll protect the camera and I'll hit my head. But the camera will be fine, so don't worry.
exactly. When I was super young, like grade 8ish, into skateboarding, I wanted to be smoother doing follow cam. I grabbed boiling water, like kettle boiling water, put it in a cup, and I practiced skateboarding with boiling water.
Oh wow.
And I learned quickly to like keep my hand steady because I would get like hot water splashed on me, which was like ridiculous.
It's like Karate Kid style.
Yeah. But it worked. I got pretty good at follow cam.
Yeah, that's amazing. I would say my technical skill, like filming skateboarding growing up, was so bad. Like I just recently digitized like all my old like mini DV cam like tapes, and there's over like 100 hours of footage. And yeah, just watching it back. I mean, a lot of amazing memories and things I completely forgot about, but then also just a lot of bad like camera work.
Yeah.
Like, what was I thinking? Like, man, I can't even like keep the camera steady at all. But I was learning too at the same time.
And to me, that's an amazing crossover. Is like the amount of times you fail as a skateboarder and you failed as a filmmaker. And now, 20 years later, like you're amazing at what you do. And I don't think other people in other industries have that ability to fail so often.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think that's like it's just a part of skateboarding. It's just like the repetition over and over and over and over again, and it's not for everyone. You know, you really have to have a certain drive and almost like OCD nature to your personality to just like to want to keep trying and practicing and until you get it.
What do you want from people? What do you want from the world or corporate clients? Like, where should people find you, connect with you? What do you want people to know about your work?
I used to be a part of Pixel Motion, and that was like my
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That was like one of the well, I created it with Peter, who you remember
Yep.
and stuff. And I left that company really just to pursue like freelance and being able to like just focus on camera work and the creative, rather than trying to run a small business that was always trying to like make the bottom line work and pay employees and keep an office space, all that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So I don't really have an elevator pitch, but it's yeah, it's more just like I love being behind the camera. I love crafting stories. I love filmmaking. I love all aspects of filmmaking, and documentaries for me is where it's at, and that's
Okay, cool.
very much like where you'll see me, whether that's yeah on a hired set, working as a camera operator or a DP or whatever, but then also just passion projects. I always have different documentary projects on the go, and I think that also stems from skateboarding too, right? There's so much passion in skateboarding, and so much time and energy put into something, creating something, and I'm still doing that. Whether it's for money or it's for fun, it's all the same for me most days.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's yeah. I think the parallel there is like skateboarders really do it because they love it,
Yeah.
and not necessarily for the money. Maybe the new generation of kids like, oh, you can get in the Olympics now if you train really hard.
That's definitely a thing.
Growing up, for you and I, it was like we literally just did it because we loved it
Yeah.
and made those films, and for no other reason besides we wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, just going through that whole like digitizing process, there's so much footage that I never did anything with. It was like, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, why were we filming? Like, we weren't making a video. Maybe the idea was to make a video, but we never did. I mean, we made little ones here and there, little montages and stuff. But ultimately, it was just like, you're going skateboarding, bring the camera. Like, yeah, you have to. Like, of course you're gonna film everything, and yeah. So
Would you ever, like, now that you've digitized it, what are you going to do with it? Like, Beagle has done putting his archive up.
which is super cool, by the way. I love watching
So
those.
cool.
Yeah, I love just raw footage,
Yeah.
just being able to watch like all the like the misses and then finally like the land after like an hour, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that was crazy.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with the digitized TV tapes?
And nothing really. I don't know. I thought about like, oh, like it'd be fun to just make it like a like a retro part almost of like footage I've never even seen really.
Yeah.
But then I also thought about it too. I'm like, oh, there's like just so many people that I've filmed with over the years and stuff. Footage that they probably have never seen either. So maybe just putting together little montages of them skating and stuff.
Yeah. You
And
should do
that's-
it.
Yeah, just
See, you have like a mini DV deck?
I wish. No, no, I have like an old like yeah DVX 100. I have two of
Okay.
them actually, and they're both busted. Like you can't shoot with them anymore,
Yeah.
but the playback function is still good.
Okay.
So I've been using those as capture decks, and that's been fine.
I have a box of mini DV. I
Yeah.
have no idea what to do with it. Well, I know what I want to digitize them and I know what to do with it, but I don't have. That means maybe one day we can one of your DVXs if
Yeah,
you're in town.
100%, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's what I'm using it for. I have no hope to use it for anything else now. So
Yeah, just paperweight.
it's just a paperweight. Yeah, I mean, it's cool looking paperweight. I still love the look of it.
Do you remember like the batch import and you'd be like, sweet, everything's all done. I'm gonna go for lunch and come back and it like aired on the first clip.
Oh,
And
first.
now we just shoot the hard drive and it's like, oh, it's done.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a completely different workflow. It's so funny that way.
Anyway, thank you so much. You're the first of this series. I've been in contact with a couple other filmmakers, photographers who came from the skateboard world.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate you being my guinea pig.
Yeah, man.
The test run. If you know anyone that I should
Oh,
talk to, send them my way. Hopefully they'll start seeing like the clips of you. I just want to have these conversations. I love skateboarding. I love filmmaking and photography,
yeah.
and how that all works together. So
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and for sure, I know a few people. I mean,
yeah,
whether or not they would want to do it, I don't know. But like,
oh, totally.
it's funny how many people I meet all the time
Yeah.
on different projects, and it's like, oh, you skate, I skate, and it's like, oh man, like we
Well,
instantly connect, and but yeah, it's pretty common
Well,
for
think
sure.
about it. Like all the people, even in like the corporate level, who are now in like late 30s, early 40s, were mid to late 90s, early 2000 kids,
Yeah,
and skateboarding was like the biggest cultural thing going on in
big
North
time.
America at the time. So pretty much guaranteed, a lot of our clients are going to have some knowledge of skateboarding, whether they skateboarded themselves or they had like a boyfriend who skateboarded, a girlfriend who skateboarded, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Hmm.
now all like approaching 40,
Yeah,
and I think there's like a resurgence there.
I totally know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I feel like kind of coming up in like corporate commercial world, with everyone being like that much older, in positions of hiring and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there was less of a connection or touch point to skateboarding, and so it didn't really talk about it. But yeah, now it's like I bring it up almost every time I'm like working with somebody new, and not I don't like intend to do that. It just happens through conversation. Like, oh yeah, I was actually at the skate park the other day and this happened, or like, and they're like, oh, you skateboard? I'm like, yeah, and they're like, oh, like they might have a skateboarding story, or like they're like, I could ollie once, and you're
Yeah.
like, cool,
Yeah,
you should
we're
get back into it.
but that's the amazing thing about skateboarding is like there's an instant connection there, and I've
Yeah,
never seen that in any other field. Like I
yeah,
feel with photographers, if see someone on the street with a camera, it's like, oh, you're competition. But skateboarding, it's like, whoa, you skateboard? Like we're friends instantly,
yeah, yeah,
and I think that's really cool.
totally, man. Yeah.
I got nothing else. I'm gonna hit stop, hit record, stop recording, and that was wicked.